welcome to Sam's on Wrestling, and this is Count Out, our series where we will do our personal top 10, and I'm going to repeat that. It's our top 10. We are sick and tired of you being told what is the top 10 in wrestling, so we're going to come in with our personal 10 because we want to hear your personal 10. So whenever we do a personal 10, please put it in the comments because we want to hear what yours actually is. Stop being told what the best or the worst is.
Exactly.
And have your own, because you might have not watched wrestling in 1995 to know that Mabel is awful.
Yes.
You might not know this.
No, exactly. You should.
Exactly.
Avoid Mabel at all costs.
Educate yourself.
Yes, exactly.
But what we're doing today, Sam, a really random one with no parameters. We just said, Sam, this is what we're doing. And you asked what's the parameters. I went, no, do whatever you want. We're looking at our favourite top 10 WWE Champions. This one, very interesting. Yes. Where are we going to go? But before we find out what our baby Sam has decided and what I have decided, because these are not going to be the same.
These are going to be very different.
These are going to be very different. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And please, again, put your top 10 WWE Champions, your favourites, into the comments. Now, I think before we start with our number 10s, I think it's really, really good to actually say when we started watching, because I think that will make a massive difference here.
Yes.
So I was 2001, and I'm talking literally October, so I'm practically 2002. So I've missed all of the Attitude Era, and I've missed all of the Invasion. Sam, you are...
I'm very late 2008. I'm just coming in as Jeff's about to win the title.
So Ruthless Aggression...
wasn't around for it. Obviously, I know what happened now, but I wasn't there at the time, which is important.
You have watched things back, so it doesn't mean they were ruled out beforehand, but maybe they might not have the same impact and stuff like that.
This is a weird one, because
it's exciting.
I expected there to be loads, and I've realised, actually, the WWE Championship, for long stretches, hasn't had great champions, in my opinion.
I think they're on 50... I think Jinder was the 50th, so however many people have won it since...
He's not on here.
How many people? So we're like 52?
No,
53?
But in my experience, I think there's been heavy stretches where I've gone, I actually don't really like many of them. A lot of the time, it was the secondary title, like the world title or the universal, that kind of had wrestlers that I liked more, because the wrestlers I like more are the ones that Vince likes less, so they got to have little runs with those titles, whereas the WWE flagship usually came to you Randy Orton, Triple H, John Cena most of the time.
So this is why I split up, because we actually did our least favourite world champions. It was the first ever count-out video we ever did. Please go check out. It was our worst top 10, as it were. But I split this into just WWE because I think it'd be really interesting to see our best worlds and universal sort of thing. So who have you actually gone for as your 10th favourite? So your least favourite, but in the list.
My 10th favourite of all time. I just want to give an honourable mention to The Miz. I wanted to put him on here as I love The Miz. I love the fact that he was champion. I was really happy he won it the second time.
But the reign
Very
sucks.
good cowardly heel, but it sucks. So I couldn't put him in there, but I just wanted to mention him. My number 10 is Kofi Kingston. Because again, this is going to be a bit of a theme. A bit of a theme in this one is some of my lower ones on the list didn't have very good range, but I put them in because I was really happy that they became champion. Yeah. So that's the epitome of why Kofi's here.
I've got a mixture of reigns and happiness. And it just depends which one. And I kind of was like, which one did I float down the river of happiness towards more? Yeah. Did I go, I really enjoyed that reign, I got entertainment for longer stretches, or yay. Yeah. And I literally... They're like stretched, yay. So it's very confusing. Kofi, we watched live at a pub, WrestleMania 35. It was the end of the night when Kofi won, because after that, everything else was pretty much rubbish. Yeah, we were so happy. People thought he was going to lose, and they were idiots. This is when we realised that people are dumb. Wrestling fans,
so they're not doing all that build.
Some wrestling fans are dumb.
They're really not going to do all that.
This is why I like being quite literally when we do our predictions. I've made some really hilarious predictions, mainly to make it fun, but because if you're a champion, you can take some risks. Yeah. But most of the time, we went, Sam, predict this. We're going to be like, if let's say it's 5 matches, you're probably going to get 4 to 5. Yeah. But sometimes the right person winning is the right thing to do, and Kofi was the example of that.
Absolutely, it was one of my favourite wrestling moments. I think I definitely had it in my top 10 of happiest.
Yeah, it was in my top 10 of happiest as well. He's not made my list.
Really, I get that. I get that because again, you are someone who doesn't put moments on such a pedestal. You like the long-term reigns. I didn't think he'd be on yours, but I had to put him in.
Sadly, he's a moment and the reign is god-awful.
And frankly, he gets in because there wasn't as many really good WWE champions that I liked.
I did a TikTok and I literally asked the question because obviously JBL's my least favourite and I wanted to know what the people's was. Kofi turned up a lot.
Did he?
Kofi turned up. The question was, who would you erase? Kofi came up way more than you expect.
I wouldn't have raised him.
Yeah, this is the fun. I was baffled by it, but that Kofi came up. I had like 900 comments, so half of them were mine responding, but there was like 450 comments of people, saying Kofi. So be surprised. My number 10, and this is number 10 because it made me sad that when it happened, is Drew McIntyre.
I nearly had him.
I loved the Royal Rumble spot going into it. He carried, along with Sasha and Bayley, the whole of COVID. If you ever tuned into any of the COVID stuff, it was all him. In the male side anyway. He did most of the heavy lifting. He was brilliant. He's a great WWE champion. And every year, we're sitting there and go, are you going to make Drew champion again? You going to make Drew champion? You could easily build a thing around Drew. Going to make Drew champion? Drew, for me, it was such a happy moment when he won, even though it was in 2 minutes against Brock. He then beat the Big Show in the real main event of WrestleMania 36. And then he actually had a very good run for a COVID era. And sadly, he has never no one has ever paid him. They've never paid to watch him win, defend a world title.
Well, no, if you count paying for like the TV,
no one has ever paid for him to defend the title. Yeah. That's the thing, is because he won his title in the COVID. He won his second one in COVID. Yeah. And then he won his third one.
For 5 minutes of remaining.
But no one had already paid for that because he had won it, so they didn't pay for him to defend. He's never been paid for defending a world title.
Yeah, that's true.
How sad
it's really sad. I should have him in my top 10. I did think of him, and there's something about that era, and it's so sad for him. I just kind of want to stay away from that, even though some good stuff happened in there. Yeah. I just couldn't put it in.
Yeah,
but
I get that.
It's not his fault, and he was really good. And he doesn't get the praise, I think, for how good a babyface he can be, because he's such a good heel. He's phenomenal.
I loved it. I was happy. And also being British, we're happy as well. Mm. Number 9, Sam.
This is where I put Cody Rhodes.
Yes!
Really? Same.
I have Cody Rhodes.
I'm a man of culture. I enjoyed his reign. I think it was actually a good reign.
First of all, I need to come in strong here, actually, because people went, his reign was rubbish, couldn't wait. I was like, no. First of all, an iconic reign had just finished. A very famous one. So immediately, irregardless of how his reign was going to go, it was going to be a dramatic step down. You couldn't compete. And then you're looking around going, heels? No. Any heels anywhere? No, we've got AJ. Have AJ for a bit. We have some great matches with AJ. We've got some great matches with Kevin Owens. Oh. And then they're like, we have to kind of go back to the bloodline stuff because we haven't got any heels. And this is the problem. This is not Cody's fault. Cody was cutting great promos and everyone's going, he can't cut promos. Like, yes, he can. He can be repetitive at times, but he can cut a great promo. His matches were always delivering. Cody's reign was actually very good and sadly ended in such a terrible way in that match at WrestleMania. But Cody's reign as WWE Champion, I really enjoyed it. It was the epitome of a great moment at 40. You can't not enjoy it. I loved it. I think people are harshly criticising because they didn't either like Cody or they couldn't get their head around the fact that there were no heels and Roman Reigns had just had one of probably the most famous reign of the last 30 years, maybe?
100%. And I think people in this day and age can't really deal with a long-term babyface champion. They don't like it.
You only get long-term if you are the number one in the company and you're trying to be shown. John Cena won his first one, had it for a year. Batista had his first one, had it for a year. Yeah. If you're going to be the number one, you end up having your first one for a long time. If you're not going to be the number one, take a Jey Uso, for example, they have to have short reigns. That's why Kofi's really fell down. Kofi should have lost it after 3 months. Should have had to have 3 months. And it could have been to Brock, and you could have had Kofi fighting from underneath and all that jazz, and that would have worked better, and it would have made it better because babyface should have short reigns, heel should have long reigns to make babyface chase.
And I think it says a lot in this day and age that with Cody's really long reign, people actually still have the patience with him. And you look at the live crowds, and mainly social media, people still back him now. Yeah. He's still over, which is a testament because I tell you what, Cena's reign, different story. He did really well.
When Cody eventually becomes a heel, he'll be a world-class heel. He'll be an amazing heel. We move into number 8, Sammy darling.
This is the one wrestler on this list who I did not see win the title. Oh, right. I've gone Eddie Guerrero. Has to be that, and I know he's probably going to be right
He will be on my list.
Yeah. I think it's one of the all-time great wrestling moments, him being brought for the title. People don't actually remember as much the promo before that he cut. God. One of my favourite promos in wrestling history. It's one of the most real and well done and tastefully well done promos about a topic that, again, wrestling in general, let alone WWE, doesn't really cover, and for understandable reasons. It was fantastic, it was real, and then him winning the title is, again, one of the best moments in wrestling history to me. And I just think, I wish I wish I'd got to see Eddie Guerrero when he was still alive, because he's honestly one of the greatest that's ever done it from wrestling and a character perspective. And I thought I had to have him on here because it just makes me feel really good.
Even if you don't watch it, that's how good he was.
Yeah.
My number 8 is also someone I didn't watch do it.
Oh, Psycho Sid.
If only. Yes. I love Psycho Sid.
I know.
I've got Stone Cold at number 8.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because every time he was the champion pretty much the whole through the 98 and 99. It was always fun, it was always interesting, it was always engaging, and quite frankly, you watch back loads of moments. The problem is his reigns actually aren't very good, because it's not about the reigns, it's not about the title, it's about Vince trying to take the title off him more than anything, and that's about it. So that's actually why it's quite low for me, because I actually think his reigns, like he won 6, 5, and that's the thing, it's like, you don't know because it doesn't matter. But so for me, Stone Cold was never about the title. But they had to have him the title because he's always the number one guy. But for me, I really enjoyed every time, there was something to do with his championship that actually mattered about the championship. I actually, the one that I put most high up is actually, and you're going to be very shocked, is his Invasion reign.
No, I could see that coming.
I loved it. I'm a kid, like you talking about it, but it's the fact that as much as the Invasion was terrible and Stone Cold, the heel turn was at the wrong time because there was no babyface and all that jazz, I friggin' loved it. I thought he was a great heel champion. I thought he was a great heel, like cowardly heel. All this comedy with Kurt Angle. Really funny. Yeah. Loved it. There was the 9/11 stuff as well. Yeah, with Kurt Angle and the switch over. So I actually really enjoyed all of Stone Cold's reigns.
I get that. And in a little box, in a vacuum, his title run was actually really good. The problem was the wider things going on with the company. Say you had like Stone Cold doing that on Raw, and then The Rock was still there on SmackDown being champion and being an amazing babyface. Yeah. Wouldn't be such a problem.
Or if they built a babyface to contend, and that was actually which they hadn't actually built a babyface. That's where Jericho should have come in. Number 7, Sam. Lucky number 7.
My number 7 is a man I was thrilled to see win the title. Let's talk less about the reign. It's Bray Wyatt.
Ooh.
No, I know. It's my list. It's my list. I cannot tell you how happy.
But the worms, Sam.
No, I know.
But the worms.
Well, I know, but let's face it.
But the cockroaches.
Kofi lost it in a horrendous way as well.
Sam. Kofi may have lost it in 8 seconds. But
your hands are very soft.
But I haven't done a day's work in my life. But Kofi never had a WWE Championship match where the crowd audibly laughed.
Yeah, no, I know. I know. But Kofi had some where they weren't paying attention.
Bray only won the WWE Championship once,
Sam,
1 month.
Sam, is this my list or yours?
Yeah, but
no, is it my list or yours?
But questions.
Well, if you let me speak, maybe you'll give it to some answers. They're not going to be good answers, Sam.
Weirdly, my number 7 is the person he defeated for said WWE Championship, but not the person who was the champion.
Oh, okay, so sorry, yeah.
I've got AJ Styles.
You're wrong. He actually technically beat Cena.
No. He beat him for the title.
Oh, he pinned him.
He pinned AJ, but that's what everyone thinks AJ was the champion. It's like, actually, it was Cena. And that's the thing, is everyone thinks Bray had loads of champions. Like, actually had loads of Universal Championship reigns.
Wait, I wouldn't even put them up there.
Well, that can't. It's only WWE Championship. But it's not great, because he won it in a great champion, and then it just collapsed.
No, agree, Sam. I know. I agree.
We did discuss the moment over the reign. And
exactly. This is what this is, and the reason it's number 7, because I love Bray Wyatt. You know how much I always love Bray Wyatt.
I love Bray at his best.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. He can be bad. But I remember 17. I didn't quite know you yet.
Nope, not yet.
And I was so happy he won it. I knew he was probably going to lose to Randy anyway. But
Which was such a stupid
It was stupid. But in that little vacuum, there was 2 weeks, Sam, one of the primes of my life. 2 weeks, you had Bray Wyatt as WWE Champion and Kevin Owens as Universal Champion. Oh. Just before Kevin lost it to Goldberg, and then everything went downhill in 2017 from there. But 2 wonderful weeks,
2017 could have easily been a stellar year, and it ended up being one of the worst year in wrestling. And then Vince went, hold my beer. You think 2017's bad? Let me raise you 2019.
2018, to be frank.
It's not great.
No, I know.
I was so happy for him. I don't think the moment is as big as like a Kofi or anything like that.
No, but this is personal to me.
Yeah, but for the fans of Bray Wyatt, in which I was one, I was delighted for it. And do you know what? You're sat there going, like, he knew he was going to lose to Randy. I was sat there going, and the Randy will do the turn. I think Bray will keep the title. And I was on the few who just didn't think Bray was going to lose, and it turns out
I didn't trust Vince.
It turns out it was one of my predictions of I think everyone's going the wrong direction here, and it turns out I was sat there like, it's me.
No, you knew where at WrestleMania Bray had that amazing entrance at 33 with all the fireflies, and even then he was still the first out as champion to Randy's
which you don't
entrance.
like.
No, I don't like. the sperm entrance. You thought that was bad. That gets forgotten because of all the other stuff that happened. It's a terrible reign, Sam, but it's Bray Wyatt being champion, and it makes me feel good. That's why it's here.
But can I talk about AJ Styles?
Oh, you can.
First of all, he defeated Jinder Mahal.
Oh, well, in the second one.
Yeah, but I'm saying he first of all defeated Jinder Mahal.
Oh, so that is a plus.
And then had a very interesting 300-day reign where you're like, it's good. No. Yes. No. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with I like it. It was weird, like, because he had a ring with Nakamura, which was shocking. But he had, like, wasn't there Samoa Joe as well? Wendy.
Like, come on, like, you've got two on paper phenomenal, no pun intended, feuds there, and we've got to do the kicking in the bollocks and Wendy. Why?
But do you remember his match with Brock at Survivor Series?
Oh, Sam Dillon. That's one of my favourite. I think it might be in my Hall of Fame.
It was delicious.
Oh,
delicious. And yes, he'd obviously won the title beforehand.
I prefer his
losing
first
it
reign.
to Cena, and I absolutely do as well, because also he beat Dean Ambrose, which was the correct decision, because Dean Ambrose was treading very heavy water and was going nowhere. AJ was the right thing, and then obviously AJ had his match with Cena at the Rumble, which was great, and I think AJ literally cemented himself as a WWE legend, because I think a lot of people were worried he was going to come in WWE, float for a couple of years, have some good matches, and then, but not leave any note. And Vince was definitely one of those people, because he didn't book it. He kept failing upwards. We've talked about this before. He came in, lost the Rumble, but then got into a tag team with Chris Jericho, which is very high ranking, but then lost to Jericho at WrestleMania, but then he got to have a match against Roman Reigns for the WWE Champion, which he then lost. He then got to take on John Cena, which is actually, I would say, higher ranking than a Roman Reigns WWE Championship. And then they're like, oh, okay, actually, this guy, you know, he's quite good. AJ Styles is awesome. Him being champion made me so happy when he beat Ambrose. That was that Triple Threat with Cena? Was that one?
No, the Triple Threat was the month after. Yeah,
I remember being so happy because I was like, "It's the correct decision. Let's push AJ." They did, and he is awesome. And I'm so happy he became WWE champion because he was probably one of my favourite TNA champions as well. Even though we've been reviewing TNA, and AJ has had in the 6 months we've watched a shocker.
Yeah, he's had not even his fault.
He's had an absolute. He could leave Rhino alone.
I know. I shall talk about him later.
So we move into number 6. Sam, who have you got number 6?
Daniel Bryan.
Oh, I love Daniel Bryan of Bryan.
Yeah. I mean, I've got kind of two combined here.
Hang on, 2014? Yeah, you watched it?
Yeah. So I'm watching. I was kind of a bit out.
I watched that live.
Did you?
Yeah, I was tired.
Yeah.
But I was.
You must have still been in shock.
I was awoken by a thing that happened.
The other thing that happened that night.
I was texting a mate who was watching it, but he was about half hour behind. And I was like, I can't text you.
Yeah.
Because he was asking me things. I was like, I can't tell you.
You've got no words. Anyway, yeah, Bryan. It's not for that run. Although, again, he does fall into the category of I was so happy.
Yeah.
As will we all.
But it lasted a month,
to see
technically. Because obviously it didn't last a month, but it lasted a month. His heel run with the heavyweight championship.
Oh, brilliant, Sam.
He came back from, like, retirement, returned, and almost immediately turned heel. And you were like, that's the wrong decision.
Well, he'd had a bit of a, frankly, underwhelming run for about 6 months.
Well, they kept putting him with Big Cass.
No, I know. So, honest, 2018 WWE.
No, to be fair, that's an element of, you've returned. Well, we've already planned the next month of TV.
But had they, though, in 2018,
You make an unbelievable point.
Were you in TKO brain? So I'm then planned the next minute.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
good point. Oh my God, it's amazing. My brain has actually
You've adapted. You started thinking you have to trust WWE. I'm like, no, Sam. No, you remember the Dark Shadow days.
The Dark Shadow.
No, Sam.
Simba. We don't go to 2018.
We never go there, Simba.
We never go there, Simba. Look at 2019. It's not shadowy. It's red.
It's fire, mate.
It's a red light.
Yeah.
I love Daniel Bryan. It's a great win. I will talk about him later.
Yeah, fair.
Absolutely.
But phenomenal heel work. I've used that word a few times. Fantastic heel work, and it was nice.
And he got Eric Rowan over,
which is impressive.
He got Eric Rowan over.
Yeah,
that's how good he is.
Yeah.
Can I talk about the person who essentially had his last match in WWE against? That's my number 6. It's Roman Reigns. Now, Roman Reigns is an interesting one because I love his 4-year reign. I do think it should have ended at 39. Not because 40 wasn't the right decision, because 40 was the right decision, but 39 to 40 was terrible.
Oh, yeah, people forget about that.
Yeah, that's the thing, because that's the weird thing. 39 and 40, I agree happening. 39, Cody should have lost, and then won at 40, because that actually made it better. But I hated the in-between.
It was better for Cody, worse for Roman.
That's exactly what it is. Yes. So weirdly,
Which I get the trade-off there, actually.
Yeah, and it is the trade-off, because that year long, Roman turned up about 5 pay-per-views, and 2 of them were tag teams. It was really bad.
That decision very nearly aged like milk if Rock had actually got that match as well.
I don't know what he was thinking, but screw the Rock at this point. Absolutely screw moron.
Yeah.
But that title reign's brilliant. Every other one is so bad, is why it can't go high for me. And
I understand
that's
that.
Literally, I couldn't take myself, because I had to put him high because I thought it was brilliant. Because essentially, we did a whole video on who is responsible for WWE's upturn.
Yes.
Is it Triple H or is it Roman Reigns? That's how big it is. If you have to do a video and go, who is it, the person with the pencil or the star? That's a great conversation. And Roman Reigns is the deserved conversation of one of the greatest reigns of all time. I think if you did the top 5 reigns of all time, his is in there. It is that legendary.
Could be number 1, arguably.
Could be, exactly.
If you're doing,
yeah, exactly. And that's how good it is. But his other ones were so bad, all of them. Yeah. There's not a good one in there that I get angry about it, and it would arguably almost go into the worst world championship. If this reign hadn't happened, he would be my worst. Yeah. But that's why I put him at 6. Yeah.
So because you gave me a bit of leeway in terms of the reasoning for thinking, he is later on mine, and I'll explain why.
I think it's one of the ones where it's like, if you told me to ignore the other ones, he would be way higher.
Yeah.
But I can't.
I understand.
Because they're so bad.
Yeah.
We move on to number 5. Sam, can I write my number 5? Can I go first?
You can.
Because I don't think you're going to like it.
Oh no.
It's CM Punk at number 5.
Well, I do like it. I don't like what you're doing, Sam.
Now, I looked at these and I went, who do I actually preferred? And in the grand scheme of CM Punk's WWE title reign, it was one of the greatest moments of all time. And when I was going on moments, I was like, yeah, I despised his title reign.
So you're going the moment of him winning it 2011 Money in the Bank.
Right. And then the title reign, and then obviously SummerSlam. I count it as one reign. And then because it did, and then that ends. So the Summer of Punk is awful. Let's make this clear. The Summer of Punk is 2 weeks long. The rest of it's terrible, and we've discussed this.
3 weeks.
They'll give you 3 weeks. The rest of it's really bad. Del Rio, triple threats, Kevin Nash. It's Triple H beating him. It's really bad. It's undercut in the media. Everyone goes, the Summer of Punk. No, his Ring of Honor one was better. Let's make that clear. But his 3 weeks was great, and then he won it again, and we've got this long reign, right? I hate this long reign more than I should like it. And the reason I hate it, not his fault.
No, I know.
How many main events did he have?
No, I know.
If it's not John Cena, wasn't in the main event. He was second placed. And it got to the stage where, we have to lose it to The Rock. And that really frustrated me. So literally, I'm trying to justify why it's so low.
No,
because in reality, I loved every time CM Punk was the champion, because the merch was selling better, the promos were better, the matches were good, the matches with Bryan were brilliant, the AJ Lee stuff maybe just got in the way a little bit from having brilliant matches, because they were like, these are good matches, but they're kind of storyline matches. Like, could you imagine if we had an we imagine a CM versus Bryan in a proper match would have been really nice. And then he has a match with Cena and he draws because Cena's not allowed to lose multiple times, so apparently to somebody. And he had triple threat with Big Show at SummerSlam, which was awful because Triple H needs to be in the main event against Brock for some strange reason, because he's going to walk out like he's retiring. He's not. The reign is so bad and the Summer of Punk was so annoying that it's actually what makes me actually get annoyed about thinking about it.
I get it.
And how sucky is that actually me talking about some of my favourites gets downtrodden because Vince cannot not have his number 1 be the number 1.
No, I agree with what you're saying, Sam, but I don't think I could possibly put 4 people above him.
The 4 people I've got here, I will believe. But also put out CM Punk brought me back to WWE, but WWE still in 11, 12 is still really bad.
I'll talk about Punk
I know
later,
you will.
I'll probably make most of my counter arguments there, but to me, all is right in the world when CM Punk's champion.
Here's the thing: it's not counter argument, because arguably Punk should be my higher thing, but for me, it's just I got so frustrated.
I understand,
and that's the thing. So I'm actually justifying why he's 5 and not 4, 3, 2, or 1. Sam, who have you got at your 5?
Good question. This is where I've got AJ Styles.
That's actually fair for someone your age.
Yeah, this is where it gets really, really good for me. I think for me, there's a big gap between Styles and Bryan, but AJ is champion in a desolate time, Sam, as we have covered.
It was so bad, 2017, 2018, that it was actually, I'm turning this off.
Yeah.
But I get to watch AJ have a WWE Championship match.
Yeah,
and great promos. Underrated.
Especially as a heel. The heel run is the one that really bigs it up for me. I like 2018.
Beats Ambrose,
and then he goes and he has seen it. He has that amazing SmackDown triple threat with Corbin and Ziggler that had no right to be as good as it was. No. And then the classic with Cena. And I don't say classic lightly, it's a classic.
No, we're very like, people have overused some words to make things bigger than they are. and that is an example of that. But those two matches at SummerSlam and at Royal Rumbles could be put in a box forever and make sure we don't lose them, because they're if you wanted to show someone this is how you do a main event level match, that is how you do it.
Yeah, but it's absolutely perfect. And then the other one in 2018, yes, Nakamura gets involved and ruins it, but it has some really, really good points. And again, that match with Brock is a part of that title reign. I loved Styles being champion. I've
forgotten how he lost. How did he lose?
He went for the how he lost the title.
Yeah, how did he lose? It
was Brian Heel turn.
Oh God, yeah, it was.
Yeah, just before the 2018 Survivor Series.
Oh yeah, because those two didn't have a good match.
No, because because Brian had just turned heel and Brock was a heel.
I remember. I was going to say those two.
It was still a good match, but nowhere near as good as babyface Brian.
Because didn't they also have a match at the Royal Rumble that also? It was because Eric Rowan turned up and the Rumble was.
Oh, flat. You mean? Oh, so are you talking about Brian and Styles? I thought you meant you were talking about Brian and Brock.
No, Brian and Styles. They had two matches and both of them weren't great.
Didn't really work that dynamic. I think face Brian versus heel Styles would be much better. I don't know. There's something not quite.
And also,
right
they had the match at the Rumble, and the crowd just was silent.
It seemed to me like when you're about to feud with someone, you needed quite a lot of live event matches with them. They couldn't do a heel Brian versus face Styles live event match run up.
Yeah,
and
maybe
it felt like maybe they hadn't quite got that chemistry.
It's amazing. At AJ Styles, the things we could play the most on Nakamura, Samoa Joe, and Brian. It's like, what happened there?
I know, on paper, what a run.
Where would AJ Styles have been if those three had landed?
Oh,
that's the question. Because I actually think there's a reason we don't put AJ higher. It's because at the end of the day,
it's similar to Punk, isn't it? And again, no main events and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, do you know what?
Yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Sam, we move on to number 4, just outside the medal places.
Sam, the reign is non-existent, but the vibes are immaculate. Jeff Hardy, that's all I need to say.
Yeah, I thought you might have Jeff. I haven't got Jeff.
That little party, that confetti celebration alone, Sam.
Yeah,
number 4.
I knew you would pick Jeff.
Has to be
you're a big fan. I really wish Jeff had given him trust, because I think he would have had 2-month reign. Not a 1-month reign. It's the fact that it kept going back to Orton, and he was like, "Oh, why him? He's so boring. You've just gone for Jeff.
But Sam,
could you at least take Jeff to the Royal? Oh no, Jeff's off. Jeff's been suspended again.
2009 Randy Orton was a menace, Sam.
My number 4, I've gone with The Rock. Because, can we ignore, first of all, 2013 Punk?
Yeah.
But The Rock literally held WWE together in 2000, as well as all the new stars were just bubbling to the surface. Him and Triple H were having... I actually had Triple H on my list originally, for this.
But then you remember the 2000s, the late 2000s.
And then I remember all these other... I was like, nah, actually that drops it out. Because I was like, his 2000 run is immaculate. Honestly, Triple H is Wrestler of the Year in 2000, and I will not have anyone argue against it. Even if you hate Triple H, go watch his 2000 stuff. But The Rock was brilliant. Every time he was a champion, he was a mega star. And I actually preferred him being champion than Stone Cold. I thought he worked with the championship way better. I thought his matches felt like... I'm not a massive fan of Stone Cold's matches anyway. I think they're quite punch-kicky and can be a bit boring, whereas The Rock is also quite punch-kicky. But I think The Rock has more moves than an Austin, who's got neck injuries.
Essentially better seller as well.
I like Rock selling, sometimes over the top, but I just think you can't not think about somebody who is the biggest star to ever grace wrestling. And it was wrestling that got him there as well. Everyone forgets that. And his WWE Championship runs are just brilliant.
No, agreed.
And even in the flip-floppy times, think about his Mankind stuff. Brilliant. It's still great, still memorable.
Still agree. I just wasn't around for it and couldn't really put it in myself.
I've watched so much 2000 and 1999.
Sounds like you were there.
Yeah, it was. Like, honestly, I would love to... we were thinking of one day reviewing WCW 2000 and WWE 2000. I don't know how we're going to do it. We might have to do 2 a month, maybe, to actually have them compared. But just show what was going on in the hottest product ever and one of the worst products ever. We move into the bronze medal position. Sam, you're on 3rd place.
I think you know him. Mm-hmm. It's Edge.
Now, I haven't got Edge on my list.
You are wrong.
Because I didn't like any of his WWE Championship reigns. I liked his moment of Money in the Bank. That's world class. That nearly put it onto the list for me. But I don't like any of his WWE Championship reigns. Almost all of them. I love all his world title reigns. But actually, if you add it up, he's only been... I think Jinder had a longer title reign than Edge's combined, I think.
Well, that says a lot.
I think there's something. I think there's a statistic, or it's close. I'll put it up here. This is Edge's total days as champion. This is Edge's total. This is Jinder's total days.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. That's the only reason. Just Edge's WWE Championship reigns were just it.
Yeah, I understand that completely. I just think Edge suits being
champion.
He is that's champion. Why he won it so many times.
Yeah.
And I know, it's more world champion.
The perfect heel to be champion.
Yes,
it's just perfect
heel.
He
is. If you've got Edge as a champion, it is such good news for any babyface.
Why couldn't Randy Orton pay attention to what Edge was doing?
Yeah,
I just don't get it, because obviously Edge was struggling for so long to get to main event. So much so that for him to become a heel, he had to become a bit of a tosser in real life, really. And then he just understood it. Yeah, Oh, you cheated on a woman. You split up a relationship. You're a heel in my eyes. Damn it. Here's a video. But for me, he is just the epitome of the perfect person to chase and to be someone who's ruthless, but also someone who can be cowardly.
Yes, at the same time. And he was the champion as I was coming in. Yeah. And he was feuding with Jeff, had that whole stuff. And the Chamber stuff I just came into. I know he won the World Championship, but he lost the WWE title, so I count it.
Because you'd only just won.
Yeah, I know. I still love him. And for the fact that his World Championships are a bit more, maybe I couldn't put him high. But I think with my top 2, I couldn't even put his World Championships above my top 2.
Yeah, I get that. My number 3 is Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
You couldn't really put him in yours.
But I would have if I could.
Kurt Angle did not have a bad WWE Championship reign. Every single WWE Championship reign Kurt Angle had was brilliant. Even his first one where he was a cowardly heel and they didn't really push him, he was still having really good matches. Then he had the great moment about after the 9/11 tragedy, and then he won the Undisputed Championship where he got to have his massive run with Brock, which was brilliant, and he won it, lost and won it, and then obviously, it's just every time Kurt Angle was champion. You're talking about Edge is a perfect example of a champion. Kurt Angle is also, for my version, he should be champion every single time because trying to beat... Because everyone talks about Brock being the final boss, right? Because of his size. Kurt Angle's that to me is going, you think you can't... You're not better than me. You're going to have to do something really special to beat me. And you think about every time Kurt lost, right? So The Rock won a bit too early, yeah? But Brock had to pull out something unbelievably special to try and beat him and stuff like that. And then Austin had to pull out something as well. It felt like there had to be something to beat him, to get him to that level. I just think Kurt Angle is just supreme.
Could be my favourite wrestler of all time. Him and Shawn Michaels are really up there. And it's, as you say, completely, it's what we said about Edge. You've got the cowardly and the ruthless. It's perfectly personified in Kurt Angle. He could be a babyface champion and a heel champion, which I think if you were doing an objective list, would put him above Edge, because Edge realistically is a champion, can only really do heel. Yeah. Like, read to that level.
But Kurt proved he could do babyface.
He easily do both.
Yeah. And then how did he lose to Brock when he was a babyface? Iron Man, which was one of the best Iron Mans, if not the best Iron Man of all time. Kurt Angle, world class. Wish he could have gone a bit longer in WWE. Wish he had better health. Samuel, silver medal position.
This is where I've got Roman now.
Okay.
On the list I've written on my notes app on my phone, this says very specifically Roman 2022 to 2024. I took the creative liberties with this. You know what, Sam?
And that's allowed. That's the whole point.
And you know what, Sam?
I mean, you're wrong with Bray, but you're right with Roman.
That's fine. But I almost genuinely see, Sam, post-heel turn Roman and pre-heel turn Roman.
Two different blokes.
They are different characters.
The second Paul Heyman turned up on camera, Roman wasn't Roman. He wasn't the big dog anymore.
No. It might be the same.
Sorry, I said that wrong. The big dog!
The big dog! No, absolutely. It's as if he was being played by the same person and he's got the same name, but ultimately it's a different character.
You mean like the Ultimate Warrior? Yeah. Jim Hellwig had died and he was a new person.
Yeah. Like, honestly, Sam, it's like Anakin and Vader. I even used that metaphor in our Star Wars video.
Did,
and it's pretty dead on, like how much better Vader is than Anakin.
Go watch our Star Wars video.
Yeah.
It is one of our favourite videos.
100%.
But if you said to me, Sam, take some liberties, I would have him really high. I actually understand. I just can't. Because I hated wrestling from 2015 to 2019. And Roman Reigns, for most of it, is the reason.
No, and there's a reason his heel turn worked very well initially and he got that organic heat because people hated him more than Cena. Cena was a babyface that everyone loved. And then they slowly grew tired because they realised he wasn't good enough yet because he became a great wrestler, but he was not a good wrestler. Whereas Roman was like, that's not who we're cheering. Why are you telling us? Brian.
Forget Brian. It was, we're not cheering him. We cheered him in the Shield as a collective, but we're not going, him. Please give us him. We never did that.
No.
I think twice we might have done it when, he beat Sheamus and he beat up Triple H, I think.
Yeah.
That's probably the only times we went, oh, you've hit something there, and then they never capitalised in the same way. So for me, it was just like, I couldn't watch those years. I just kept turning off because I couldn't get away. It was like, I'm not cheering him.
Put it this way.
He's not working.
No, if I had been an adult in that time and had a job and had things to do, I probably wouldn't have watched that era of wrestling. It was the fact that I was 15 and I had stuff to do and I didn't have that many friends and I had, basically. I'm not saying I'm not now, but I had more things to do.
You were still more liked than Roman Reigns was.
I 100% was. I think I'd have been way more over than Roman in that.
However, Roman Reigns, in this 4-year spell, obviously only 2 of them was actually WWE Champion.
Yes, and then that's why he's number 2 in this, but yeah.
But again, one half of the year is really bad.
No, I know, but you can't not put it on there, and it's a different style of reign than we'd have. Not even in terms of the length, in terms of the character of it, having such an unbeatable heel, and he's almost inevitable, and he's got this faction around him that's so perfectly
He felt like
put. It really was, and not in a forced way. It was fantastic.
It was natural. It felt natural.
Yeah.
It felt natural, and that was the difference between the forced nature of before. It's crazy how literally the heel felt natural and organic and correct, and this felt forced. It's just insane.
People had been telling Vince to turn him heel for years, but what do we know?
Literally every single babyface who's ever succeeded in WWE had been a heel first. Whatever. The only one you could argue probably Cody, but
technically he had.
But Cody had done it somewhere else. My number 2 is Daniel Bryan. Literally 2014 was so dark. It was so bad, and 2013 was worse. And every time Daniel had the title, I got happy. Even when he had it for 8 minutes, I was happy. Then he had it for a day, I was happy. And then he won it at WrestleMania, and he had it for a month, but I was happy.
Yeah.
And then finally we got a title reign, and his heavyweight championship reign is unbelievable. The fact that he turned heel after coming back from retirement. How did you do that? And succeeded and got heat. And it was genius because obviously it played on the idea of vegetarian veganism and majority of Americans not going for that. It worked so well. His in-ring work was brilliant. Every time Bryan won the championship, I got happy. He never ever missed, even when booking was missing. No. And I will always have Bryan high because every time he wins, I just got happy.
Yeah, and look what he did for Kofi. Ultimately, the job of a heel is to get your babyface over.
It made Kofi's win even better because Bryan was such a great heel.
Yeah, there are some heels that fall into a bit of a selfish category. I'm not going to lie, Roman probably qualifies for that in terms of maybe them being the star as opposed to really getting the babyface over. Mm-hmm. Bryan got Kofi over.
And I know it doesn't count, and I know we talk about it, but we were there for All In when he won. And there's 45,000 people who would desperate for him to win and was so delighted when he won. And that's how brilliant Daniel Bryan is. We move into our gold positions. I think, Sam, we probably guess each other's here, to be honest.
I'm trying to think what yours
But let's just talk about people who have clearly missed the list. I think it's really interesting. Yeah. No Undertaker.
No, well, I never really saw him as WWE Champion. No. He was World Champion a few times.
For you, but he never had a good WWE Championship reign. Shawn Michaels. I never enjoyed any of Shawn's reigns.
All 90s stuff, and it's not very good.
No Bret, no Hogan, obviously, and things like that. No Jinder.
No Cena.
No Cena? Well, if you remember, Cena was on my worst.
He's in the middle for me.
By the way, he added to it.
Yeah.
I did that video before he was champion, and then he added to it.
Oh my word.
Sam, can you tell me why CM Punk is your number 1?
Yes, I can. Oh, Sam, ultimately...
He should be my number 1.
Yeah, I know. Well,
he should be my number 1.
I know I mentioned Kurt being my favourite wrestler. I think Kurt is my favourite in-ring wrestler. My actual favourite wrestler is always CM Punk, and he's my favourite wrestler, so he has to be number 1.
It's amazing how someone could be so divisive. There's nobody who goes, I can take or leave Punk. It's either love him, despite him. I've never known anyone be so divisive.
I love that in a wrestler. Yeah. I love that in a wrestler.
The problem is he's not in a wrestler. He's not... No.
No. I'm not saying he's on purpose. Yeah. No, but I think it's fantastic that a wrestler is that.
I think he's divisive as a person.
No, I agree. But that almost plays into it because ultimately, in the modern era, we look at people for who they are backstage. Hulk Hogan comes out and gets sued now.
Cena's pipe bomb on a CM Punk proved everything about CM. No. I love CM Punk's title reigns. I just wish they were... done better.
No, I know. I've got all those complaints, but ultimately, Sam, I've moved on. It was 10 years ago. And I can let it go.
13 years ago.
No, because it ended technically 11, but it is 13. The actual
2012. Is Royal Rumble 2012?
What happened, Sam? Right, it's 13 years ago. You should be able to move on, Sam. God, there are kids in high school now who weren't born.
Yeah.
Oh, right, but that's a whole other... We'll park that, because I'm going to cry. But I still think... I think we go to the Stone Cold argument. Yes, okay, why the Revenge Company... Yes, it's very annoying, but if you look at the body of work in the vacuum, Sam, my word.
Oh, it's great.
What a body of work.
Yeah, it's great.
And it got even better when he turned heel.
I still don't believe he should.
No, agreed, Sam, agreed. But let's be happy for a moment. The promos he cut, I'm telling you, when he that Rock promo, even the one to the Rock's face and the one about
punching a box
you don't get to win, all that stuff,
class.
Incredible, generational. It's just brilliant, Sam.
Why was he not in the main event?
No, I know.
Why was he not?
I know, but it was so good, Sam. It has to be number one. It will always be my number one.
Who's my number one?
I'm trying to think now. Who haven't you said?
He's on your list.
Who do you like? Who's on my list? It's not Jeff Hardy. Oh, Eddie.
It is Eddie Guerrero. Out of all the complaints of title reigns and saying you can't go on vibes.
You talking to me?
I went on vibes.
You got to.
Eddie is the epitome of, oh, you made me happy. Oh, you made me so happy when he won, because I didn't believe he was going to. Even at 13, when you're getting a bit known and a bit stupid, I think most people just assumed Brock was winning.
Well, you didn't know Brock was leaving, did you?
No, I didn't. No. I didn't know at the time. But also, I just assumed we were going to do Brock Goldberg for the WWE Championship anyway. I just thought they were going to put the title on it, because Benoit had already won the Rumble, so whoever goes for the WWE Championship, it doesn't matter.
It very much had the vibes of Roman versus Sammy that year, when you think he's going to get close, but they're going to do a different match.
I just thought it was let's have a good match, let's do a good story, let's put Eddie in a main event to show he's now a main eventer. And then he won. And then he had an amazing match with Kurt. And then had a blood feud with JBL.
Blood feud is the correct word.
Went into shock.
Yeah.
And then lost to JBL because he was dealing with the pressure. He couldn't deal with the pressure. But and he got JBL's character over better than anyone else did. But Eddie Guerrero, it was just, he was my favourite. And to watch him win, when he... Punk, we kind of could have guessed he could have won. And we knew he was going to win again after this. You might not guess Summer Punk, but you knew he was going to win. Eddie, we didn't. And the fact that he then died like a year and a half later made that even more. It when something happens and then someone dies and suddenly it gets even better. There, a singer
immortalised.
I felt that Eddie's got immortalised, and I'm not going to be able to get my own bias away from that immortalisation.
I'm not encouraging you to
I don't care.
Yeah.
Eddie Guerrero is my favourite ever WWE champion for a 4-month reign where, quite frankly, it was meh. But the vibes, the vibbies, Sam.
Sometimes, Sam, we try and over-intellectualise wrestling.
Yeah.
So all it comes down to, mate, is how does it make you feel?
Well, can we just look at these lists? Just go for this, right? Drew, so happy. Cody, I was so happy he won. CM Punk was so happy he won. Daniel Bryan, so happy he won. Eddie Guerrero, so happy he won. AJ Styles, so happy he won. 6 of my 10, because the people I got here are Kurt Angle, The Rock, Roman, and Stone Cold. Stone Cold and Rock, I can't say it because I wasn't there. Kurt Angle, he was a heel, and I hated him. I hated Kurt Angle when I first started watching. If you remember, I was a child, didn't get him, thought it was boring, and then I understood. And then Roman Reigns, because it was just such a world-class reign. 6 of my 10 were just, I am so happy. Jeff was close as well for the same principle for me. And that is how wrestling should be. It's about being taken and, emoting. When people go, when people go to AEW, we do wrestling. I'm like, why should I care? I want to care. There's a reason Daniel Bryan winning your title made me care, because of the character work and the person and the human.
Those action films, Sam, that are purely action, and you can go, oh, well, look how good the stunts are.
You turn off immediately.
Well, I need to know the reason for the stunts, and then I care about the character. It's the same principle as basic storytelling, but that's a whole other video.
This is about, and these are our favourite WWE champions, but we want to know yours. Who are your favourite ever WWE champions? I assume if some people have watched a bit later than us, or even gone earlier than us, we might get some much different first. So we really want to know who are your top 10, maybe you can do your top 3, whatever you want to do, favourite WWE champions. But also, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Please share it around as well. That would really, really help us out with the old algorithm. Come on, YouTube, show us more. Come on. But thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you again for another count out video. Au revoir.